Welcome to our daily reflection for this Monday, November 11th. And today I want to start with the Psalm as the entryway into the other readings. Psalm 24 asks this question: who can ascend the mountain of the Lord? And what that's really asking is, who can come before God? Who can enter into God's presence? And then there's a beautiful answer: the one whose heart is clean, who desires not what is vain or empty. And that's idea of desiring is the key to a clean heart, because what we desire in our heart really kind of defines us. And so we have to rework, and this is something that Augustine talks about in his Confessions. He had to reorder his desiring, so he desired what is right and true and good and beautiful, rather than what was base and vain and empty. And so Augustine talks quite a bit about desires as the way to purify the heart. And that's what we see here. So we have that beautiful question: who can ascend the mountain of the Lord? And then in the first reading, in Paul's letter to Titus, he kind of describes who should be chosen as a bishop. And it says, one who is blameless, not arrogant, not irritable, not a drunkard, not aggressive, not greedy for sordid gain, but temperate. And so you see how desire is so important, because if you have an inordinate desire for food and drink and money and material things, it disorders the heart and makes one not only a bad follower of Christ, but a really bad leader in the church. And so, again, to not desire vain things, the things of this world that are passing, but to desire the things that are eternal and lasting, that is going to shape our heart. So our desires are like the horses that drive the cart of our heart. We have to get the right desires going in the right direction, so that our heart is pure and right. And then they're just and holy and self-controlled, and they hold fast the message of the gospel, right? And so that's really important. And then Jesus also talks about the importance of having right desire, so that we can ascend and be in God's presence. And so he says, woe to those who lead and cause others to sin, because they're going to take them away from God's presence. And so he says, it would be better for them if a millstone was thrown around their neck, attached to their neck, and they were thrown into the sea, than to lead one of these young ones into sin. And so we see how that is. And then Jesus gives a message that seems to be in tension. First off, what's consistent with that message is, if your brother sins, rebuke them, correct them. Don't let them just continue on a path of sin and destruction. Rebuke them, warn them. But then, here's the tension. But then Jesus reminds us at the same time, if he wrongs you 7 times a day, but returns 7 times asking for forgiveness, you need to forgive them every time. And so Jesus warns us about sin and says, rebuke your brother when they sin, but when they repent and ask for forgiveness, you must forgive. What an incredible paradox, right? Rebuke for sin, but always be willing to forgive sin. That is the key tension that we as Christians must live with. Not liking sin, rebuking sin, but always, always being willing and able and eager to forgive sinners and to love them. And so that's what we're called to today, so that we may ascend the mountain of the Lord and be in God's holy presence. May the Lord bless and keep you.
This daily reflection is brought to you thanks to the generous support of the Mission Circle. Join the Mission Circle to help Catholics worldwide understand, live, and share their faith. Sign up at missioncircle.org today.